Thank you. All right, guys. Okay, so those of you that don't know me, I'm Alicia Schulten. I'm one of Sarah's first coaches, one of the founding coach. I guess that's what they call a founding coach. So I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, exactly. I think the 24th is my official anniversary. So that's crazy to think that I've been doing this for 3 years. But like I was telling some of the other girls that were on here earlier, all I've done basically is the same thing that we're doing in this group. So I started running a free challenge group, transitioned into a 3-week or a 1-month fitness and nutrition group. And then after this, we'll go into that process too about turning your challengers into coaches. And literally that's all I've done every single month. And that's why I love this group so much, because I'm like, if you do this every single month, that's all you need to do. And you can be here in 3 years, so, and I think this is number 20. What month am I on? I think I've hit Success Club 25 months in a row, and this is all I've done. So we can do this, and I'm not saying it's been like Success Club 20 or anything. It's usually like 5 or 6, but for me, that was a goal of mine. So I'm like, I was okay with that. And even through some really tough times, moving, being pregnant, Christmas and all the different life that you go through, meeting your goal. Hearing a little bit of noise, I was just I'm taking. So that's a little bit about me. I'm not going to go into it too much. I think most of you maybe know a little bit about me, but so I'll just get right into what Sarah has on the agenda for us. Were any of you on the call last week? Yeah, Kelly, you were. Okay. So it's going to be basically a lot of the same stuff. It's just different leaders kind of plugging into how they do the same things. So the first one she wanted me to talk about was owning it. So like owning this group that we're doing right now. I know even for me, it's been a little overwhelming with all the posts. And try not to let that get the best of you. Something I've been doing is taking my power hour and actually using half of that. So a half an hour dedicated just to this group. Because I think it's so important. And like I said, this is basically what I've been doing for 3 years as a coach, is the exact steps that are being taught in this group. Even if you've been a coach for, a year, it's such a good refresher course, even for me. And I think my coaches have kind of felt the same way too, is, going back to the very basics. So owning it by the fact of just, going back to the basics of what coaching is all about, and putting at least, a half an hour into this group every day, I swear will, benefit you tenfold. So I know it's easy to look at all the posts and be like, okay, there's just too many, I'm not going to get caught up, and then just fall back by like 4 days. But try not to do that. Try to plug in at least a half hour every single day. And then something that I'm guilty of is I will read stuff and then not implement it and then forget that I read it. Or read it like 4 times, which is a waste of time, right? So something you could work on is, if you know that you can't implement it right away, don't even read it. So wait until you're in that focused, half an hour time, whatever time slot you're going to give yourself, where you can implement what you're going to read right after that. And then I think Sarah had mentioned too how you can like and comment once you've done or once you've read it and implemented it, instead of just, forgetting what you read, because there's so much wasted time in doing coaching for 3 years. I've kind of learned some of the ins and outs of that too. And I do the same thing that Sarah does. I'll, even like on the welcome coach posts in Fit Forward, I won't, if I like it, that means I have to comment on it. So that way I know any of them that I've liked, I've also commented on. So same goes for this group. So just something that'll help save you time maybe, because we all need a little bit more of that. And sorry, like I said, I have a cold. My voice is really, I sound like a frog right now. I'm sorry. So I hope you're all owning this, and the fact that just know that this is going to help you tenfold if you plug into it. So kind of take that to heart and maybe, push off a couple things that might not be as important right now and just really try to focus on this group. Okay, so I think that's good for implementing and owning it. The 100 no's, you guys all have that, right? Y'all have 100 because you're sprinting to diamond. Yay, nay. So if you don't have 100 by now, I mean, I hope you do, but don't let it stress you out. And something that I have done in the past is try to do too much every day, and then it turns into me being salesy, which should never happen. So I've kind of converted into the whole quality over quantity, which might mean that I only send out 5 or 6 messages that day, but those are quality messages. Those aren't, I need to get through 20 people in 15 minutes, because those messages aren't going to be from the heart, and they're not going to, I think people can just read it. You know what I mean? They can read when you're not into what they said in the past. And I mean, I've gotten to the point where I've spelled people's names wrong because I was trying to go through it fast, and I'm like, what am I doing? This is terrible. I would so much rather focus on those 5 or 6 messages a day than stress out trying to, fit in 20 messages in 20 minutes. That's not worth it. So just try to focus on that quality over quantity. Because no one wants to be salesy, and I think I'm guilty of that. So I kind of learned the hard way. Cold messaging, I hate, and I know a lot of my coaches come to me a lot about this. But so since I've started as a coach, I've been asked a lot how I network with people. And I have to say it's been number 1, free groups. Easiest way to naturally connect with people, by far. And that's why we stress that you get as many people in your free group as possible, because that's 100 people that you can connect with that month that you don't have to go out searching for. I mean, maybe they're not all new, but maybe 70% of those people are new. Why would you not want to do it that route? At least for me, because I can't stand going into a group and just being hey, I love your Facebook picture. That's not me. I can't do that very well. When I do, I sound way too salesy. So for me, free groups, number 1. Number 2 is my Facebook posts. So attraction marketing is what we're all about. And again, it goes back to that quality over quantity. So I know we stress the whole posting 3 to 4 times a day, but if it's going to be a rushed post and it's not thought through, then I say skip it. It's okay if you only post twice a day versus 3 times a day if you're just going to throw a crap post out there, because then people can feel that from you, and they can understand. They look at you and just maybe they stop following you because it's just not interesting. So we're all about attraction marketing. So I have, over the last 3 years, put a lot of effort into my posts. And not that I spend, hours on making my posts, but I like to plan ahead. So Sunday night, in my phone, I'll have a little list. In my little notes, app, it'll say, weekly posts. And it'll say every day of the week. And then I'll have ideas for each day of the week. And I'll put in my call to actions for each day. And then I work around that. And then as I get ideas, I also have another list that just says beach body ideas. And I still have in there a list of 25 little dash marks of stuff that I'll come up with randomly. I'll be reading Women's Health magazine or something, and I'll have an idea, and I'll just throw it in that list. That I know it'll be a good post, but if I, have a day where I need something to come up with and I don't want it to just be made up on the whim, I can go to that list. So that's kind of helped me, having those 2 lists just right on my phone there. But yeah, really think about, I think this was a post and forward too, the whole go back to your personal page, scroll through. Are you someone that you would want to follow? And if you're not, maybe you need to take a step back and be okay, what's my niche again? Am I posting to my niche? Am I sharing value? Am I sharing things that I'm passionate about? So that for me, so kind of tying that into the whole, like the cold messaging part, like for me, I don't have to do that a lot because I feel like a lot of my posts get that engagement going. So I'll either ask a question at the end of my post or, I don't know, even like what color of wood should I put on our, floor, stuff like that. And then at least it's not a random out of nowhere question to someone. So you're adding those 3 people to your network every day. Those people should, start hitting on those posts that you do, especially the ones that are high traffic where it's like an A or B post. So again, just an easier way to connect with people versus like the icky random, like, hey, who's your photographer? Like I just can't do those. So don't come to me asking me like, how do you, cold message? Because every once in a while I do, yes. But most of the time, A, it's free groups. B, it's through my attraction marketing on my Facebook page. Okay, where am I at? Let's try it. My gosh, I made this into a full screen. I can't get out. Okay. Okay, number 3, signing up your family member or a spouse. If you guys are all sprinting to Diamond, this is kind of an obvious, like that hopefully you guys are all there. My husband is an Emerald coach and he's proud of it. He's been a Diamond. He's no longer Diamond, but I've kept him at Emerald and he makes around 200 a week. He doesn't do anything. But I signed him up right away, day 3 of meeting a coach, and worked his business. And it's just been so nice to have him. He was one of my Diamonds when I hit 3-star last year. So it's been so nice to be able to have an account that you can control instead of just hoping, that person can hold their Emerald status or whatever. And then he was one of my Diamonds, which also helped too. So if you haven't signed up your spouse, do that ASAP, or a family member if you don't have a spouse. And then what I do with him is I alternate between HD Recovery and the Energize, and then packets. So the packets I'll use for, like samples or like a giveaway. Usually those go pretty quickly. If I have a surplus, I'll post it in the swap page or whatever. But he drinks the Recovery. And then the Energize, I haven't been using it now, but I like to use that in my challenge groups as like giveaways. So, like end of the challenge giveaway, so that they can try that product as they're maybe getting ready for your next challenge. So do you all have your spouse? I'm assuming, hopefully, if you guys are sprinting to Diamond, I would guess that you did. Okay, cool. Where did I get? Yeah, worry about this time. Okay, so it takes me a while to write my posts. Did you cover how quickly you write them? Nicole, as far as how long it takes me, I would say, I do maybe one a day that takes me, maybe 10 minutes, just because I like to make that one business post mean a little bit more. Don't put too much time into them. But again, it's me going back. Like, this is kind of sad, and I'm sharing this with you guys, but sometimes I post and it's from like 5 days ago and no one knows that. So stock up on posts too, so that it's not every single day, I swear I'm constantly thinking about like, oh my gosh, that's a post. And my coaches know that too. When I talk to them, I'm like, when I have coaching calls with them, I'll be like, stop talking, that's a post, write it down. Because I'm constantly thinking about turning things into posts, which I'm probably a little bit crazy for, but that's how, I don't know, I think that it saved me a lot of time, so that every day I'm not like blank page of what I'm supposed to do. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Jen says, I had my mom signed up. Perfect. I had my mom signed up too. She helped me get to, she's going to help me get to 2-star in my second CBC. And that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be Doesn't have to be your spouse. It can be your mom, anyone. Just make sure that they're okay with you using their social. Cool. All right. So next one, referrals. And I'm going to be honest with you, I should be better at this and I'm not, but they can be huge for people. I mean, I had, is it Jennifer Johnson on a team call, and she had an awesome way of getting referrals from her challengers. And I should talk to her because I forget how she does that. But something I do is, if they do say my challengers at the end of the challenge group, I'll post in there, if anyone has anyone that they think would want to do this with you next round, or if you reach out to a friend, I'll give away a Fix8 cookbook for free, and I'll post a picture of it. Because those are like, I think, $15. So obviously the commission you make off of, another sale and another challenge pack sale, another potential how many month challenger, one Fix8 cookbook is totally worth it. Or you can do a $20 gift card, whatever you are feeling. I just like the Fix8 cookbook because it kind of goes with, what your challenge group. And then I'll private message each of my new challengers that round and kind of say the same thing, just so it's more personal. Not everyone sees that post in that challenge group. That's kind of all I had for referrals. I didn't have any like too crazy ideas or anything. If anyone else does, feel free to like post in the CEO page too about it. Okay, so incentives. These have worked really well for me in the past. I've done a 3-day refresh giveaway, which I don't think is like, as far as like compliance, I don't think you're supposed to do that, but I did that via like personal message. So I think I needed like another 2 more success. I was going for 10. I needed 2 more challenge packs sold. So I went to all of my past no's in my inbox or, in my list, and messaged them and said, I'm running another challenge group. You said you weren't interested in the past, but I'm giving away this 3-day refresh. It's a 3-day cleanse. It's all natural. Kind of go into it, share a before and after if you have one. And that definitely like drove in at least 2 or 3 sales that month. So that was a good one. But I don't know if you should do that because I think it's against compliance. But maybe I'll. That's why I just keep it personal message, then no one will know. Or you could just do, a gift card again. It doesn't have to be 3-day refresh. People really like cleanses for some reason. So that was like an easy giveaway for me. Or this is something I just thought of that I don't do a lot of, but it could be really good too, is get creative with your incentives. So say you have like a mommy boot camp. Well, maybe you give away like some Lululemon pants or something to the next person who signs up for a challenge pack. I think I saw Amy Hughes do that one time, and I thought that was a really good idea just because those are so popular right now. But
LuLaRoe, you mean?
Yeah, what did I say?
Lululemon. I'm like,
oh, no, not Lululemon. If you really wanted to, you could. But, and LuLaRoe fits one size fits all, right? So you can go with that. But no, it was LuLaRoe. Yeah. And she gave away a pair of leggings to the next person that signed up for her mommy boot camp or something. It was some kind of challenge group. And I thought that was brilliant. I'm like, I want a pair, like that. The caught my eye, and everyone loves LuLaRoe. So I thought that was a really good idea. But yeah, so kind of dig into your niche or what kind of challenge group you're doing. Maybe it's a, Lululemon headband or something that will capture the eye of who you're trying to attract for that specific challenge group. That's just an idea I had, actually. I don't even know if I've actually ever done that. I might now because it is a really good idea. But so that's all I have for incentives. But what's that? Oh, I think you're okay. That was by accident. Okay, last one, a script for turning challengers into discount coaches. I actually have one that I'm going to share in this thread when I'm done here with you guys, because it's just too long I think for you guys it'd be easier for you to read out how I go about it. But the main gist of it is, and I've shared it in Fit Forward before, and it's the same one that I use. So basically after, you post about your challenge group and they want to be a part of it after talking about their goals, talking about what's included, and then they say they're all in, that's when I say, awesome. I say, okay, one last question. Do you want to sign up as a discount member, a regular member? And I think Sarah said something similar to this last week. And they'll respond back, what's the difference? And then I just talk about how initially it's the same price, $140, $160, whatever challenge pack they're getting. And after that, the second month, they can get 25% off all product. And I really keep it that simple. Like, I don't go into too many details yet, because after about 2 weeks is when I'll message them again and say, how's it going with Shakeology? And if they're not liking it, that's when I say, okay, well, you need to cancel your account then, so you're going to get charged. Otherwise, awesome. You're going to get your next shipment's going to come this day. And you might see these charges, but this is what they mean. And then, follow up with the club membership and all that good stuff. So, this works for me like probably 95% of the time. And most people do stay on it for at least a month or two. I've had a couple that are like, oh, I'm not digging it. So then you just cancel. Super easy. It's easier to do it that way than it is to sign them up after the fact. So at least this is how I do it, sign challengers up as discount coaches. And I use the mobile enroller. I'm not sure if you all do. That has been a lifesaver for me. I didn't use the first year and a half coaching. And as far as signing challengers up as discount coaches, that's like bread and butter. That's like the best, because it's just so easy because the website sucks. I guess they're changing it this year, but who knows when that's going to happen. So I would strongly advise you to use that mobile enroller as much as you can. Okay. So I think that's it as far as signing up as a discount coach. Again, I'll share that in the group page too, so you can read it versus just hear it. Sorry if I talk kind of fast. What time? Okay. So I think we've got about 3 minutes. I wanted to answer those questions too real quick. And then if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop in the chat box and ask questions too. I know Kelly had asked about, I was a little confused about your question, Kelly. About Shakeology, keeping track, right? How often do I do it? So once every 2 months, I'll do a master key, go through all of my customers who's on HD. I'll do it with my customers and my discount coaches. Most of my discount coaches are on HD, but, and that's when I'll follow up. I don't follow up weekly or anything, just because there's no way I could keep track of that. But I'd like to do a master scroll through and who's on HD, who's not, reconnect with the ones that maybe aren't, if I have a new challenge group coming up, or if they are in HD, just check in to make sure everything's okay. Because you forget about your current challengers, and it's really easy to do. So I would say max, at least every other month, go through that. And I'm a pen and paper girl, so I don't have an Excel spreadsheet. I just have lists of HD, monthly HD. I have a master challenger list with little notes next to their names. So super basic. I'm probably so unorganized compared to all of you. Second question was, I think from, let's see. Pulled up here. Becky, what made you become a coach? So I went to school for health and wellness. I have a degree in health, but I always knew I wanted to do something with health and wellness, but I wasn't sure how or what. I was just constantly looking at recipes, trying out different stuff. So I kind of already had the passion underneath me. And so when Sarah posted about her free group, I was like, I'm all in. Like, I don't even care if I make money. I just want to do this. Because I was a stay-at-home mom, needed that like fulfillment, you know, like I wanted something else. So honestly, like I jumped in, like just so like excited. And I think that has helped me in the last 3 years is the passion that I have for this. But that's kind of like the main gist. And I think sharing that in your post too helps a lot. Because I tend to get like fired up about this job a lot. And then I'll share about it on Facebook, which I think people like. So I hope that kind of answered your question with that. How often you check in with your challengers in your challenge group? Probably 3 times a day. I mean, I'll check in the morning, usually around lunch if I post, you know, my shake or my meal, and then at night. So nothing crazy. I don't like live for my challenge groups, which you can if you want, but that's just not, I couldn't do that. So, and I think that's good that you're not constantly on your phone, because they need to know too that you have a life besides this challenge group. And then the last question, Becky, that you had was, what's your number one tip for new coaches? Okay, so I just got off a call with one of my diamonds last night, and she asked the same question. So my number one tip for new coaches would be to get going with your first free clean eating group ASAP. Like most of my coaches, my GSR is within 2 days of them signing up as a coach, and the following Monday they're posting about their first free cleaning group. And don't even give them an option. Just be like, this is how you start. You know, like I used to be like, well, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do a challenge group with fitness? Or no, like that free group is what makes it, you know, like you get as many people in there as you can. And that's why the CEO group is so good, because it teaches you the ins and outs of how to run that free group, Facebook tips, affinity tips, and all that. So that's probably my number one tip, is to get them going. Because then once it's like exciting, that first free group. I'm sure you guys all remember that too. But it's exciting to see how many people are interested in what you're doing. So, okay, so last question. Samantha, how do you keep your challengers engaged and focused once your group is over? So at the end of mine, I don't do this consistently, I should, but I like to ask a question in my challenge group. You know, once it's all over, I'll say, hey guys, you know, you guys did awesome. Can you choose between A, B, or C on where you want to go from here? So A, do you want to continue rocking these groups? Our next one starts this day, you know. B, no, I'm good. I'm going to work on my own fitness. I'm going to refrain from the next group. Or C, I would like to look more into coaching and maybe get my Shakeology paid for, or help you run your next one. So that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. You don't get a lot of engagement. But at least you know who those rock stars are who are going to be in that group next round. And it opens up the idea to discount coaching or like actual coaching too. Does that make sense, Samantha? I know it's hard to keep the engagement up with, I mean, I've had, I don't know how many challengers over the last 3 years, but it's not easy, but at least getting an idea of where they're at in your current group. You know, and again, maybe you go through, every other month you go through your challenge groups and write them all out again and reconnect again. You know, I've had to do that too, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't have anyone to talk to right now, or like I forget that I have this challenger or whatever, and you forget about them, and then just reconnecting, and they're like, oh yeah, especially right now in the new year, a lot of people want to get back on the wagon. So that would be a really good idea to do. Okay, cool. Any other questions about anything I said? Sorry if I talk fast and I sound like a frog. I think we have, let's see, yeah, it's 9:05. I hope that helped you guys a little bit, but really, yeah, if anything, just own this group, because this group is amazing, and we're going to have this obviously for the next, you know, Sarah's going to put it all in a template so you can use it for the next how many months forward and share it with your teams. So I would just say keep utilizing it and at least, dig in every day for a little bit into the posts and just kind of follow along. You guys are doing awesome. Anything else? Any questions? No? Good? All right.
Thanks, Alicia.
Yeah. You're welcome. You guys have a good night, and we will, I'll post that discount coaching script in there too in the group so you guys can check that out. Oh, look at that cute little puppy. Cute. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too.